Now, I've been told there's content in them there hills, and we're going to go looking for it. So remember, folks, hit the button, like, comment, subscribe, do the things. So, folks, there's this channel called TYT, and I have no idea what is about to happen. I was sent this with zero context. It's approximately 10-ish minutes long. Let's check it out. Apparently from one of their recent shows. I think from yesterday, actually. So starting at 48 minutes, let's check it out. Going in blind, baby.
I was always against it. I never liked Netanyahu. Blah, 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 blah. There'll be 1,000 excuses, 1,000. Yes, but did you do anything? Did you say that Israel was wrong and that we should have a two-state solution and that we should have a ceasefire and that the Palestinians should be protected? Or did you use talking points about human shields and how they had it coming and the Palestinians can't ever be trusted? They're not like normal human beings. No, if we give them a state, those savages will immediately attack us. No Israeli supporter is ever allowed to use the word savage again. So because what's happened in Gaza is the definition of savagery.
I mean, so far I agree with him completely.
Okay. So, that's clear. Number two, the comment about the hospital is so right. Anna said it yesterday too. Remember when we had the debate? And you said somebody on the network said, that's right. And I'm proud of that. Why am I proud of that? Because we had the conversations, we had the debates, and you all saw it with your own eyes. We didn't shut anything down. We allowed everybody to say their piece, and what happened? The truth won out. We were right.
Yeah, but like, that truth was already obvious, though. Like, we knew they were bombing hospitals in Gaza because they've bombed hospitals in Gaza before. Like, it's not like this sacrosanct thing to the IDF.
Right. So, and now it's not in question because the debate originally was, this is the thing that Anna mentioned, you mentioned. Remember when that hospital got hit in the beginning and they're like, no way it was Israel. Israel would never hit a hospital. No, everybody has to retract the story. Israel's the most moral country in the history of the world.
Like, to me, just and maybe this is me being unfair, and I'm willing to admit if I am being unfair, but like, to me, this just seems like saying, yeah, we were really brave. We had we allowed a debate. We gave equal time to, the global warming people and the, climate change isn't man-made people. Like, we gave equal time to both. And, climate change is real. What out? Like, it's just kind of defending this weird 50-50 both sidesing it. And I don't really fuck with that,
They would never ever, and if you say they would ever hit a hospital, anti-Semite, right? What happened? They destroyed all of the hospitals in Gaza. They leveled 2 of them yesterday. So now we're past 53,000 dead. They've taken 2/3 of Gaza already. So where's the, okay, they would never hit any hospital. They hit every hospital and every university and every school. They destroyed them all. So can I get a confession from the supporters of Israel? You were wrong. Israel, this current government is a bunch of savages and they destroyed civilization in Gaza. I mean, if Hamas had done this to Israel, can you imagine if Hamas had done this to Israel? But apparently Israel is allowed to be monsters and say, no, I can do it to Palestinians. Their lives don't matter. I'm gonna keep going. So the one thing I disagree with you, Jordan, on, you said they have to be either stupid or liars. No, you'd be shocked at what bias does to you. Look, I can tell you from my ethnicity, you go talk to perfectly rational Turks, perfectly progressive Turks, and you ask them about Kurds, boom, gone. Bias comes in, their eyes glaze over. No, the Kurds are bad, Turks are the greatest, Turks are the most moral.
I would argue that they're not particularly progressive if they're doing that about any kind of ethnic group.
People on the earth, blah, 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 blah. No, bias will blind you to anything, when it comes to these kind of issues. But I am curious, now that Netanyahu is launching this conquest imminently. And he's saying, yes, this is our plan. We are going to take the Palestinian land. We are going to continue to murder them, and we are going to drive them out. Are you still going to hide behind excuses? Are you still going to be biased and go, yeah, no, as long as Israel's the one doing the ethnic cleansing, then I'm okay with it, because excuse number 1, 2, and 3, and every excuse.
No, like we've already seen how how people respond to this, and yes. Yeah, yes, actually, that is how they respond to it. You know, like we went over like Ben Shapiro talking about his stance on this, and he talks about like how, you know, like, well, a one-state solution is basically what we want to get to, but you know, that would create like an inconvenient voting block. So, you know, maybe we don't give them voting rights, or, you know, something else happens. And like, this is the something else happening. They want to do a mass ethnic cleansing so that they get essentially the numbers down to effectively disenfranchise any Palestinians that may be absorbed into Israel, so that their, you know, ethnic majority is maintained. That's it. Full stop.
This has to do with how Palestinians are savages and violent and can't be trusted and have to be murdered because they're the violent ones, right? And then finally, you know, this, Jordan, this idea like, oh, don't trust Trump. He'll never ever do the right thing because, you know, he doesn't have good intent and he's not actually a peace thing. Of course, it isn't about good intent and like all of a sudden you're like, oh, I think maybe Donald Trump's heart opened up. No, the only reason he might do it is because of corruption and ego. If he thought they're gonna build statues of him all over the world and he was gonna get a Nobel Peace Prize and he was gonna get to take home a couple of $1 billion, that's why he would do it.
Oh, but by the way, it came out today that the United States government is in fact planning to assist in the mass ethnic cleansing of Gaza. So, you know, like, however much we have been complicit, and it's quite a high percentage, it's about to get like, I don't know, quadrupled.
It's not complicated, and Trump's not a complicated guy. Nevertheless, it is way less likely because still Israel has an enormous amount of power in this country, and they are now exercising it in 8,000 different ways. And so that's why on the Qatar jet, oh my God, every ally of Israel is, and again, the jet's wrong, right? But every ally of Israel is out all over media. Every politician, including Republicans, all of a sudden finding a way to oppose Trump, right? Et cetera, and going, no, Qatar's a bunch of terrorist Muslim savages. We have our biggest base in the Middle East in Qatar. If they're such terrorists, why are we working with them?
What?
Why are we putting our troops in danger? No, Israel's interests are affected. No, terrorist, anti-Semite. Okay, yeah, try that, go ahead. But you know what's happening? The MAGA base is going, you call me anti-Semite one more goddamn time.
What? What a bizarre direction to take this. Like, we haven't talked about the Qatari jet yet, and I'll give my thoughts on it, but like, there are some incredibly reasonable reasons to say, hey, we shouldn't take a $400 million jet, and like, we shouldn't allow that to be transferred to our president or to the military for the president's use, and then transferred to his private, you know, presidential library nonprofit afterwards. I'll elaborate on that in a bit, but like, there are some incredibly obvious reasons we should not do that.
Time. It
has, I mean, at least in my mind, it has absolutely nothing to do with like, because it's from Qatar and like what the demographics of Qatar are like, that has nothing to do with that.
You call me anti-Semite one more time, okay?
Are like, who's calling them anti-Semitic? Who's calling the MAGA base anti-Semitic in this particular equation you're drafting out? How does How does the president of the United States receiving a $400 million bribe translated to the MAGA base being called anti-Semitic?
This dude still siding with MAGA after what happened to his nephew?
I don't even know what he's doing here. I think he's trying to come across as sympathetic to the MAGA base.
Okay, they had it up to here. So I know I'm out on a limb. I said it at the very beginning of the Trump administration. It's not even a majority likelihood, but is there for the first time a chance, a non-zero chance, that they'll get to the right answer because of all the forces that I just explained, the corruption, the ego, etc.? Yes, there is. Yes, there definitely is. There is a possibility. And if you're not open to that possibility, you're making a giant mistake.
What? Oh yeah, you have to understand, the United States participating in the mass ethnic cleansing of Gaza, that's actually a 5D chess move to arrive at a two-state solution. What are you fucking on, man?
We should, Jordan, last thing, I know we're so over here, but you have to encourage that possibility. You have to tell Trump, oh my God, you'll be a hero. But by the way, he would.
See, this is what I mean when I talk about how Cenk thinks he's smarter than like all of them. He thinks he's gonna like outthink them, get into the room with Trump, and like be able to suck him off enough in order to like manipulate like global policy. Like that's just not how it works. He already has a bunch of people sucking him off. He doesn't need another one. You just have to suck him off intelligently.
In that case. Oh, but if you say, nope, I'm just gonna be super pessimistic and I'm gonna yell at him no matter what he does, even if he does the right thing. And you know what?
What thing has he been doing right? What thing on this has he done right? I would love to know.
And because if he does the right thing and frees the Palestinians, no, he's still doing other things wrong. Since he's doing other things wrong, I'll never give him credit, even though this would be a historic act. I think that's a massive.
He doesn't give a shit if we give him credit or not. Like what? He only cares about like the opinions of his wealthy friends. That's it.
It's a mistake. So. Do you see that encouraging?
Okay, like just for a while there, I was like, why are we watching this? Why, what are we doing here? And now I get it. Now I get it.
Him to do the right thing, especially encouraging the right wing to push him to do the right thing, might be the right strategy.
What?
I don't have faith in them doing that.
Yeah, this is like. It's like Cenk is trying to play the classic board game Mousetrap, and like the camera then goes over to Jordan, and it's just like, yeah, I thought we agreed to play Settlers of Catan. You're over here building like a Rube Goldbergian trap for my knight, and I don't think that has anything to do with what we're doing here, Cenk.
Like you just laid out. All of the opposition to this plane is rooted in Islamophobia. Much of it, to be fair.
What? Okay, all right. We're
going
to talk about this
when
plane.
Elon replied to him on Twitter. Cenk said, "Please, Daddy Elon and Daddy Trump, put me in charge of the Pentagon budget. I will fix it like a good boy. What a loser."
No, that genuinely broke his brain. Genuinely, when Elon Musk replied to him on Twitter, Cenk just went like, this is it. This is the avenue. This is how I travel to the White House and convince Donald Trump with my massive and superior intellect to, stop doing a genocide. And it'd be cool if that was how it worked, but it's not how it works. But that being said here, again, the opposition to a $400 million bribe being given to the president of the United States, I think is rooted in a lot more than Islamophobia. In fact, I would put Islamophobia very far down the list.
Why would they suddenly take a different tact here? I think what we have seen, especially from the right on foreign policy, Going back to the golf days, if you want to be
Jordan's talking about specifically on the right. That might very well be
accurate, but largely from the war on terror on, it is a jingoistic foreign policy, and that's going to extend to Palestinians as well. So I just am not holding my breath. I mean, sure, I guess I'll encourage you, do the right thing, but like, I feel like it's falling on deaf ears.
But
They've shown
Jordan,
what
how
they
can you say
want.
it's falling on deaf ears? Joe Rogan's talking about it.
Oh my God. Yeah, you know, our number one policy guy, Joe Rogan. This is kind of why I talk a lot about like the conspiracy singularity. Because I think if you begin to engage uncritically with orbiters of the conspiracy singularity like Joe Rogan, you know, people who suck unsuspecting folks into that conspiracy singularity, I think that you can, if you are engaging uncritically, like unravel your own brain. And I think to an extent that is what is happening with TYT here, where like they're like, but it's on Joe Rogan. It's on Joe Rogan. So, you know, like, I don't know, like maybe who gives a fuck if it's on Joe Rogan? Who cares? You think Donald Trump is out there watching Joe Rogan? No. He's watching Escape from Alcatraz on like local cable access. You know, like he's like, the people in power do not give a fuck what Joe Rogan thinks. Generally speaking, unless it's an election year and they want to get their candidate on the Joe Rogan podcast or whatever. Okay? They're already in power. The usefulness of Joe Rogan has ended for the next, you know, year and a half. Okay? Until the midterms. And just like, I don't know, who gives a fuck? Whatever.
Thing.
Like, I'm not just talking about Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and the far right. Rogan, Theo Von, endlessly.
Like, Tucker Carlson is a straight up anti-Semite. The reason he's taking that position is because he's an anti-Semite. He is a white nationalist.
Like,
that's why
no, Jordan, I'm being serious. Hold on. If he's an anti-Semite, and that's our speculation.
What a coward. What a fucking coward. If David Duke is an anti-Semite, that's just our speculation. We don't know what's happening in David Duke's heart, okay? We don't know. We just don't know. Who can say what the former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan thinks about Jewish people? Who can say?
Okay, that's terrible, and I'm going to deal with that later. But are you trying to discourage him from, like?
I'm not trying to discourage him. I'm not saying he's going to be an effective messenger to persuade Trump.
Of course he is. Who would be an effective messenger? How? A Democrat? That doesn't make any sense, Jordan.
An effective messenger would be a fucking billionaire, bro. What? Look, if Joe Rogan strides into the White House right now and says it's time to launch, Donald Trump will be convinced by the monkey brain logic, okay, of Joe Rogan. What is this?
Not.
Of course, Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene are much more likely to persuade Donald Trump than we are. Isn't that the most obvious thing in the world?
They're not going to persuade Donald Trump to your positions, man.
If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, I'll deal with what it is later.
Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, holds a milkshake like a duck, I'll deal with that later. Isn't Marjorie Taylor Greene like a big time Zionist? You know, that it's funny you bring that up because we're going to talk about that later, actually. But this is shockingly naive. Like, the idea that Marjorie Taylor Greene would ever convince Donald Trump to do a leftist position or adopt a leftist position is just not the case. Like, I feel like Cenk over here is trying to say, like, don't worry, guys, I can manipulate the Red-Brown Alliance into helping, you know, the left-leaning people. And it's just like, historically, man, your wing of this alliance gets stabbed in the back the minute you stop being useful. All right? Like, this alliance you're trying to forge has been tried before. And it ended with the Night of the Long Knives. All right? Like,
You know, it would be
Genuinely,
nice if people would stop equating ducks with bad things. Just saying.
genuinely, very knifey duck. Thank you for the $5 dono. Like, just genuinely, if Cenk went on Hannity, he would have a much better job of convincing Donald Trump of anything. But like, that's like the only show. Like, go on The Five on Fox News. Go on Hannity. You know, like those are the shows that Donald Trump watches. You're not going to get like an audience with him. Like, I don't know, like go and make popular talking points on any of those. You'll have a much better job of convincing him. But even that is just kind of a long shot. The people and things that Donald Trump listens to all revolve around having more money than God. So like, I don't know, you're not going to outthink that. Unless you, I don't know, like pull like some kind of Ocean's 11 type scheme where you pose as like a, you know, an unknown billionaire investor who's just looking for a country to build a factory in or something. I don't know, you know?
No, I'm not saying any of us are going to. He's going to listen to the most powerful in the world. He's going to listen to the military industrial complex.
Yep.
That is who will reign supreme here. And if Israel wants weapons and they want to continue that cash flow, they're going to have more influence.
You know, and I will say that I think that he will take that into account because that's money. But even more, like we've kind of gone beyond just like Donald Trump, you know, cares about the military industrial complex because he doesn't. He doesn't. As far as I know, Donald Trump doesn't make money from the military industrial complex. He makes money from like real estate land developers and like Silicon Valley, you know, dipshits. So like those are the things he's paying attention to, you know? I think genuinely he'd probably just let, you know, the military industrial complex do what they want to do because he just doesn't care. But like, glad to see your coverage of this. I'm about 18 minutes, 13 seconds behind. So I'm going to sit back and watch while I tend my burrito. What kind of burrito you got, winners and losers? Yeah, like, I mean, he's making bank off of the crypto scam. You know, his last go around, he had to like pay attention to like who was renting rooms in his hotels. He doesn't have to do that anymore.
Then podcaster Tucker Carlson. It boils down to money. The only reason he's saying that is because he is a white nationalist. You look at his comments on people in the Middle East going back to the 2000s. He sees them as subhuman. Like there are many comments that he made on that shock jock show.
What an insane response to that. Who cares if the mouthpiece that you want to empower to the president of the United States to convey leftist talking points is a white who cares? I think Jesus Christ, man.
Jordan, let me. No. I'm
him
really
up
mad about
because
this.
he's a
Hold on.
Why would I lift him up? There are plenty of people.
No, stop with that nonsense, Jordan. Hold on. Listen.
How is it nonsense?
Okay, here's why. Because you are the people who are saying that, yes, including you, you're being intensely selfish. Let me explain.
What?
So Tucker Carlson said we shouldn't go into Iraq after he originally.
You're being intensely selfish by pointing out that Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist. How dare you? How dare you? Sure, he had a Holocaust historian on his show who denies the Holocaust, but you know, he's not a white supremacist and an anti-Semite. How dare you? You're being selfish by pointing that out. That's insane. How could you think like this? You're the head of ostensibly a network that has tried to position itself as like the most progressive network on the internet. I almost knocked my big glass over. I'm so animated. Like, and your position is it's selfish to point out a white supremacist, like neo-Nazi adjacent guy? Like for fuck's sake, Tucker Carlson's head writer, like 5 years ago, was outed as like a rampant like white supremacist, like a prominent white supremacist poster online. This isn't like new stuff. Trying to sweep it under the rug like this is insane.
Was in favor of it, but after the war started, he said, you know, we shouldn't be there.
Yeah, where are all of these coming from? Where are all of these opinions coming from?
Live from the Polymarket studio in LA.
Oh, I see.
And I don't want to deal with these monkeys. Now he's talking about Muslims. That's my people, okay? So am I in favor of that? No, absolutely not. So I could choose to do one of two things. If we were back in that time, I could either encourage the Tucker Carlson wing of the party to get out of Iraq, which would have saved hundreds of thousands of lives, or I could say, I am morally pure. He was Islamophobic. I banish him and I cancel him. And it's
you can do both. This is a false dichotomy. It's not an either or. You can be like, that person is a white supremacist, and maybe that makes him an unreliable vehicle to convey your ideas to a president. This is like insane behavior.
better that I cancel him because of my feelings than we save hundreds of thousands of lives in Iraq.
I love, by the way, that which way there are only two possibilities. On the one hand, you get let's say you get David Duke of the Ku Klux Klan to be your personal messenger to George W. Bush, and George W. Bush will hear David Duke and say, you know what, that's a good idea. Let's get out of there, and the war ends the next day. On the other hand, you point out that David Duke is a former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan and a raging, racist and anti-Semite, and then the war goes on for another 20 years because those are the only two options. That's insane. That, like, not only is that insane, but it's like such a profound failure of imagination and like, I don't know, dog, you have so much money. You have one of the biggest media apparatuses in leftist politics, and like your best idea is let's psyop Marjorie Taylor Greene into being a leftist. Like what? That's your best idea? That's mental. Wow, Jack, I can't believe you would cancel David Duke like that. I just can't even. You're right, it's very selfish of me.
That's intensely selfish. Let it go. Yeah, okay, I don't know what his intentions are, and I don't give a goddamn what his intentions are.
I have no idea how to discern the intentions of an open white supremacist. Just no idea whatsoever. I love this, man. Did Cenk Uygur, I'm not paying that much attention to TYT these days. Did he defend Elon Musk's Nazi salute? Did he say it's actually really selfish to point out that Elon Musk did, not just one but two Nazi salutes? Did he like talk down to everyone in the studio about how selfish it is to point out that like it's a fucking Nazi salute? This is insane. Oh yeah, in case you guys don't know, Polymarket is a betting app where you can bet cryptocurrency on different political outcomes, and it's illegal in the United States.
You've got to get the right wing. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, Jordan. I'm not.
Why? Wait, no, seriously, why? Wait, I'm sorry. You've got to get the right wing. Why? Why do you think you have to get the right wing? There are more registered Democrats than there are registered Republicans. There are people who just don't vote generally because they don't believe that voting will get them anything. Those are way more reachable people. Mobilize the Democrats by actually having pro-worker policies. Mobilize independents and non-voters by actually having worker-oriented policies. That is what that is what Bernie Sanders, AOC, the wing of Do Something Democrats that are going around the country right now, actually showing up at different town halls and doing things like that's what they're doing, right? The idea, you need the Republicans, otherwise you're going to lose. That's loser shit. That's defeatist talk. That is the like the main driver of the neoliberal change within the Democratic Party that has lulled Democrats to sleep over the last 30, 40 years. And like genuinely shocked to be seeing this. Were you about to say Elon? I almost said Elon, you caught me. But I caught myself. Don't worry.
Not naive. It's not like I don't know. I've been railing against the power of the Israeli lobby and the military industrial complex. But if we just go, oh, nope, I don't want any allies. I don't want allies from the people who are in charge now. How could you not see that that's maniacal and intensely selfish?
The entire point of having a principled position and a principled stand on something is that you advocate for that position and you stand for something. People respect that. And when they become disillusioned with the complete and utter lack of Republican solutions to their problems, let that radicalize those people to you. By staking out your position, you provide an alternative vision and set of policies. That's the entire reason you take a stand. Okay? So like, guys, let's just game this out for a second. What are Trump's policies going to do for the American people that turned up to vote for him? How are they going to benefit? I genuinely want some people to try like throw out some suggestions. What do you think his supporters are going to get? You know, the vast majority of them. How are his policies going to help them? My dude, thank you very much for the raid. Anadexis, ding, 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 nothing. They are going to get nothing and worse than nothing. Right? They are going to be punished for voting for him by the policies he himself enacts. They are going to lose their Medicaid. They're going to lose their Medicare. They are going to be pushed off of Social Security by the ineptitude and purposeful dismantling of the Social Security Administration. It is going to harm so many people. And the entire reason you don't want to chase after, just from a pure political utilitarian perspective, the reason you do not chase after his political positions is because those people who are hurt aren't going to vote for them again. Because they're going to be in an existential crisis that requires them to radicalize this direction, towards us, towards the left. The people who have taken a principled stand, who have planting their flag on things like Medicare for all, you know, things like housing for all. These are things that we need to do now, and we need to hold to those beliefs and ideas and not abandon them just because it seems convenient to chase the current political wind that is about to be, flipping a bunch of dog shit in all of our collective faces. You know? Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. I very, very much appreciate that.
Nothing! Absolutely nothing! Stupid! You're so stupid!
What is this from, and why are there a bunch of fish on this wheel? You know what? Don't answer that question. I prefer to have it be a mystery. This is wonderful. Thank you. But like, you let the circumstances here radicalize people to our position, and you make the case for why our position on the left is better than any of the centrist garbage being offered by people like Gavin Newsom. Oh, it's from UHF. It's been ages since I saw UHF. So yeah, again, the fact that Cenk is saying this is insane to me.
Because they're not our allies. When have they ever shown to be an ally?
Right now. There's
in what capacity?
No, they're not. They haven't done anything.
Jordan, what the hell do you want him to do? Marjorie Taylor Greene says, I don't want to give any more money.
Because he says one thing, you're like, oh, let's listen to him. He hasn't done anything.
Yeah, what's weird to me is like, oh yeah, this guy that says shit for money, you know, he said, you know, he said 9 billion things that disagree with us in the past. But now that he said one thing that kind of agrees with us, I think we should endorse him. Like, what the fuck is this? Insane.
Jordan, I'm not saying go vote for Trump. I'm not saying go support Trump. I'm saying push
I am
Trump
going to be moving to the Twin Cities. Good for Jordan on speaking up.
Hey, congrats on moving to the Twin Cities. It's very, very nice. And good luck with your move. And thank you for subscribing.
do the right thing.
The guy
but
says
you say
whatever
no.
he
You say
wants.
no. You say no. You're letting the Palestinians
unbelievable. I
die because
see
of
it.
your selfishness.
Yeah, because Jordan, because you have correctly identified Tucker Carlson as a white supremacist. You are somehow by identifying that letting Palestinians die somehow. Because if you didn't point out that Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist, he would have gone and convinced Trump to end the genocide yesterday, but you're being too mean to him, and now he'll never stop the genocide. Because as we all know, Tucker Carlson is the guy that can stop the genocide in Gaza. Dude, brain broken. Wait for it. This gets worse? How?
It drives me crazy.
Cenk, I have an award for running a ceasefire website that millions of people around the world have used. You're calling me selfish?
Yes, I am. Jordan, you've done.
Because I don't inherently believe one thing that Trump said on camera.
No, it's not about believing, Jordan. It's not about believing. So first of all, Jordan, you have been freaking amazing on this issue. You've been one of the best people in the country on this issue.
And you're being such a selfish prick right now by pointing out that Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist. The sounds of the Poly Market studio in LA are just getting louder and louder.
Live from the Poly Market studio in LA.
You don't have to believe. You just have to not believe. Do the thing that kills Tinkerbell? I'm lost here.
Love you for it, okay? But I'm not asking you to be naive and go, oh.
Yeah, you literally just told him that he has blood of Palestinians on his hands for identifying Tucker Carlson as a white supremacist.
Oh, I just trust Trump on everything now. I'm asking you to be political and strategic.
Yeah, you're asking him to be political and strategic because you think that by being nice to certain conservative pundits who just say shit they don't believe all the time, and then you're saying if you're just nice to these people who lie for money, that they'll accurately convey your sentiments to the president, and then the president will be manipulated by that. Dude, I hope Jordan quits like immediately after this. This is nuts.
And your normal, incredibly smart self, and go when the right wing comes to our side. We're not going to their side. When they come to our side,
you don't have to like. I'm sorry, you don't have to throw them a fucking party. You know, if they've been making their entire career off of being white supremacists and neo-Nazi adjacent, you don't have to be like, yay! Like if Nick Fuentes tomorrow is like, I'm gonna support, I don't know, I'm gonna support the leftist movement from here on out. Like you don't go, oh boy, yay! Throw Nick Fuentes a party for joining our side, everybody. Like you don't do that actually. You're like, all right, that great. You go do that over in your fucking neck of the woods that is nowhere near mine. You do that. Good to know. Thumbs up. And then you just, you don't invite him over into your house to like chill and have a good time because he said one thing that agrees with you once. Like let time be the arbiter of whether or not that's genuine.
our side, whether it's Tucker Carlson or goddamn it, Joe Rogan, when they're all coming to our side, don't tell them, I don't want you. You're an anti-Semite. You're a white.
They don't give a fuck what I think about them. Like, I'm sorry. They don't give a fuck. They're chasing money. They're chasing clicks. That's all they've ever done. Joe Rogan's not a principled man. Tucker Carlson doesn't have principles except for hating foreigners and people who aren't white. Like that, those are his two main principles, I guess. But like, I don't know here, guy. Like, it's not an either or. You don't have to like either throw them a big party and like lick their boots, or like fucking take up arms against them. Like there are other options, like just not really believing them and saying time will tell. Because 99% of the time when these people say one thing that agrees with you, they're trying to Trojan horse a million things you find reprehensible. That is 99 times out of 100 what these people are trying to do. What people like Tucker Carlson are trying to do. When Tucker Carlson talks about himself as being like a populist or whatever, what he's trying to say is he's going to like jingle some keys in front of you on like one particular leftist policy and then invite every single episode someone who is like a white supremacist, dictator simp onto his show. All right. That's how that works.
Nationalists, I don't want you, and I don't believe you. Take yes for an answer. For God's sake, for the Palestinians' sake, Jordan. You've been amazing on this. Please take yes for an answer.
When he does something.
No, we gotta push him to do it, Jordan.
No, I actually think it's a really reasonable stance to have. It's actually more charitable than I would be, but it's a reasonable stance to be like, yeah, if he does something that meaningfully matters and pushes the needle, sure. But if he's just saying something, like, push him to do what? This is embarrassing to the greatest possible degree. And honestly, I hope that Jordan gets out of here, because this is a sinking ship. This is not sustainable.
By the time he decides to do it or not do it, it's too late. If you just sit back and go, oh, I'm not gonna help the right who wants to stop the funding to Israel, the right who wants to stop the ceasefire, etc. I don't believe them, they're all racist. I don't believe them, I'm not gonna help them. Okay, oh, oops, they didn't have enough power because they had no allies on our side, they had no allies anywhere else. And so we gave up, we sat on our hands, and we were losers and we were pessimistic, and we gave up on the Palestinian people. We just gave up on them because calling Tucker Carlson an anti-Semite was more important to us than saving Palestinian lives. That's my opinion. I can't.
That is a fucking insane opinion. The idea that like Tucker Carlson can unilaterally end this if we're just nice enough to him is bonkers. I like genuinely, this is some like the spirits say you should view me as Gandalf.
The spirits like to convey the message that you should mentally see me as Gandalf.
It's delusional to maybe the greatest possible degree I can really mean those words.
Can't stand it. I think you're dead.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson, the guy who did an entire show about a demon that attacked him in the night. Like, what are you talking about, man?
Wrong on it. I love you. You've been wonderful on this issue, but
I love you. You've been wonderful on this issue, but I did say that you're being selfish and have the blood of Palestinians on your hands if you say that Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist. Fucking insane and unacceptable. And frankly, like, get the hell out of there, Jordan. You're too good for this shit.
No, when the other side comes to us on a super important issue where lives are on the line, I don't care about what their past is. And oh, they said the wrong word once. Oh.
Yes, that was What If Alt History. And you can watch the full journey and descent into madness. I did 3 videos on his manifesto. It's called the What If Alt History.
Oh, what do they think about trans people? Are you kidding me? Let's go save some lives. Let's save some lives. We're not in charge. We're not in charge, they're in charge. And when they say, yes, we agree with the left, yes, we agree with
It's a playlist on my channel.
Palestinians, the correct answer definitively, inarguably, is yes. Thank you for coming to our side. We will take yes for an answer. Young.
Again, here's the issue here. I'm just gonna throw this out there. If a well-known liar, someone you know who has lied every single time they have interacted with someone in public, you know, he becomes known as the town liar. We'll call him Lying Louie, okay? Lying Louie is just, you know, he's the man about town. He hangs out by the hardware store, you know? And he lies constantly all the time. But people, you know, they keep him around because, you know, he sometimes tells those entertaining stories, you know? But Lying Louie has a problem, and that's that he's racist as hell and hates Jews. And, you know, you are not a fan of Lying Louie, right? But one day, you know, you're trying to get like a new postal banking system in your town, and, you know, Lying Louie comes over to you and says, hey, I love postal banking. The idea that, like, if you just are nice to Lying Louie and he's gonna follow through and help you get postal banking in your town passed, and is just not gonna, but only if you don't call him racist and anti-Semitic, like, that's that's insane. Why on earth would you believe that he would help you? He's made his entire identity about lying. All of Jack's caricature examples hang around by the hardware store. That's because that's where a lot of crazy guys hang out. A lot of crazy guys in small towns hang out at their local hardware store. Lying Louie hangs out at Fibber Joe's. Yeah, ultimately it really comes down to like a victimhood mentality, Gamer G. Like, maybe if I do what you know, the powerful media man says, he won't hurt me. You know, maybe he won't hurt me and will instead help me. What if I just go along with my abuser? Maybe they'll help me this one time. It's insane. Is this? I think this segment might be done.
Young Turks.
Yeah. Okay. Young Turks out. That was nuts. Genuinely, I think part of the issue with Cenk is that he's been invited into the homes of a lot of these powerful media people, and they treat him, you know, normally. You know, like by all accounts that I've heard, Tucker Carlson isn't like super unhinged, you know, when the cameras are off. You know, he's able to masquerade as a human being when the cameras aren't rolling, you know? And he's able to like be courteous and like, you know, stuff like that. And there are some people in the media space where when they encounter like a right winger who is like, you know, not demonic to them in person, they start to develop this idea that you can actually like reason with them, despite the fact that like their entire existence is predicated on basically being a demon on television, you know? And like that's the case with people like Tucker Carlson, you know? That was nuts. That was nuts. If you still watch the Young Turks, you should probably stop.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, being plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.